segue into,
Here's the thing is that, so I did check out the Metal Gear Survive beta over the weekend. I did. I actually plugged probably the most time into that than I plugged more time into that definitely than Dissidia, and I only played through like one mission on
That's all right. Yeah,
Monster Hunter Worlds.
Played through one and you basically have it.
Exactly. I mean, it's Monster Hunter. I've you know, pretty obvious, right?
You hunt monsters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it. So yeah, I plugged quite a few hours into the Metal Gear Survive beta. And I do understand what they mean between like a seamless transition between single player and multiplayer.
That's what I'm most interested in.
Because what is obvious from the beta, at least to me, is that the multiplayer aspect, you know, is sort of like the mother base aspect of Metal Gear Solid 5.
Okay.
Right? So there's a lot of collecting, there's a lot of salvaging, there's a lot of, you know, and the game mode that they give you is defend a point. You know, it's like a I don't even know, it's like an energy drill that you're defending against, right? You're collecting energy, wormhole energy. I don't know why. Doesn't
probably
explain.
to get back to the other dimension where Snake exists.
Well, but the thing is, though, is that we've seen a couple of these opening cinematics from Metal Gear Survive, and one of the things that we see is that some of it does take place in the other universe, where after Mother Base is destroyed, they're cleaning up kind of the evidence. And it looks like there might be a character that might end up being Donald Anderson in those cutscenes, who is the DARPA chief in the first Metal Gear Solid game. And, I mean, it's totally unconfirmed, but we do know that there is some kind of, you know, play that's going on between the wormhole space world and what is sort of the normal world, but no one really knows what that connection is. And what's interesting, though, is that if you kind of look at the way that technology has evolved in the last couple of Metal Gear games, there has been weird wormhole shit. You know, like instead of having the Fulton balloons, you had the wormhole recovery devices. And it seemed like that was technology that did exist somewhere in the Metal Gear universe. So...
Man, don't tell me that this is actually going to be like cool canon story, because I'm
not going that far. Not going that far. I'm saying maybe Konami is not as dumb as they think, or it's not as dumb as we think they are.
Because prior to this, it kind of looked like it was just some weird bullshit spin-off like type deal. But you're saying that what we've seen there, it might actually be based in evidence from other games.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So the way, because what's really interesting is that the multiplayer selection screen and all of the shit that goes on in there happens in a VR type environment. VR has been a big reoccurring theme in Metal Gear Solid. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. If I'm going to be as cynical as possible about it, it is literally just a rejiggering of assets from Metal Gear Solid 5, figure out how to put a little bit of corrupted bullshit on some of the textures.
And charge people for microtrans.
I mean, yeah.
Were you able to get a sense of what the microtransactions are?
It's probably gonna. It's either probably gonna be. It's just like Metal Gear Solid 5. You can collect everything. There's resource management. There's base building. There's all sorts of shit. So, I mean, it could be a gun design, a gun blueprint, all the way to different attachments to you name it.
Okay,
I mean,
something that I've noticed in at least the Ubisoft games that I've played recently, and actually I forget who it was that did the recent Shadow of War game, but they also sort of do it this way, is they're kind of finding an in-between with what people will accept with loot boxes and what they won't accept, right? Like with For Honor or with Battlefront 2, you literally bought your way to being better. People are like, no, that's no good. But with Assassin's Creed Origins and with Shadow of War, you could buy XP, you could buy gold, like you could buy basically anything that you needed, but there wasn't a real need to. Like, it wasn't really giving you a leg up on anything because none of that stuff was really extremely relevant anyhow. So it's like, look, if you want to give us money to feel like you're getting stuff, go for it, but you could get it at the same rate by just playing the game.
Yeah. And I think that there's probably going to be an element of that here as well. I think if, and I don't want to say for sure, but, I would say that there's a lot of abilities for cosmetics. You can customize your character to fucking crazy. So that's a possibility as well. But they really... Nika, from playing Metal Gear Solid 5, how much of the resource management aspect of the game was present. They've really blown that aspect up. And you're collecting shit like spare tires for rubber, and
okay, that's like.
But I mean, when you're in an apocalyptic world where everyone's zombies, you kind of have to do shit.
Exactly. Yeah. It did take some cues from Fallout 4 for sure. The base building is sort of like constructing barriers to keep waves of zombies out, building traps, building.
Now, is the co-op co-op? Okay, so you're not fighting at all against other players. It's literally all cooperative stuff trying to survive, right?
Right.
Okay.
If they have a PvP version of the game, I've not.
Okay.
Seen
well, in that case, then yeah, it very well could be paid to win because that's essentially what Mass Effect 3 did. It was all co-op. You didn't go up against each other at all. So you had no problem with people buying better equipment because in the end, it's just going to help you.
Yeah. That could be. That very well could be.
Oh, you know what?
What?
Because the Mass Effect multiplayer was some of the most fun I've had in co-op stuff, so this could end up being a really fun game if Tony doesn't fuck it up.
Here's the fucked up thing.
You had fun playing it.
I had fun playing it.
Don't tell me that. I don't want this game.
I don't either. I'm not, and I don't plan on buying it. But you know what?
If somebody bought it for you,
I did not mind the beta.
Especially if there might be a possible decent canon tie-in, because when I heard, they get sucked to another dimension and they have to get back to Snake, I'm like, that's an easy cop-out to not have to deal with the canon at all. Is to just suck them to another dimension, and then when they get back, guess what? The story resumes.
You.
So if this actually has some kind of decent canon, I'm gonna want to play it, and I don't want to.
I don't expect it to. Here's the thing, though, because me being me, of course, the thing that I do is I go over to Never Be Game Over to see what the latest theories are. Did you know that at one point in time, Kojima had mentioned making a zombie game out of the Metal Gear franchise?
I have heard that. He really likes zombies himself.
Stated that directly, and this was like around the time that Ground Zeroes was either coming out or being developed. So.
But I can't imagine it would be an alternate universe portal sucking game where you get sucked into a portal. I feel like it would be...
Well, but that's the way you do it if you want to be able to preserve your universe for maybe more future installments or something without...
Right.
It gives your developers a convenient blank slate. Which, I mean, that's really what they did, is that they took that blank slate and they ran with it.
How long is this beta supposed to be going on for?
It's a good question. I don't know. I
might go home and give it a try tonight.
Can give it a try between shows too.
Oh, that too. Cool. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, it's all right. I don't know, man. It was definitely interesting. Definitely interesting. I didn't hate it, which I expected to hate it. I expected to really fucking hate it. I want to hate it. And a lot of me wants to hate it.
I want to hate it too.
But you know what? And it seemed like they took a lot of the gameplay aspects of Metal Gear and just made... Now you're under pressure, right? Like, most of the time Metal Gear's kind of slow and sneaky, but now you've got to like sprint around and go to different objectives in between waves of zombies, and when the waves of zombies, I mean, it's real waves of zombies, you can't sneak around them. You've got to fucking kill them. Ammo management is a big deal. So I mean, there's legitimately a lot of things that you're having to kind of, it's a fucking micromanagitis game.
Imagine throwing other teammates in there to have to talk back and forth with them and come up with strategies and stuff. Oh, I'm getting flashbacks to really cool Mass Effect gameplay.
Building barriers,
building stuff together too.
Yeah.
Nika, lay down those barriers. Nate, suppressive fire. I'm gonna go hide in the back here.
I wanted to really not like it. I wanted to really not like it.
All right, so before we move on to our next one here, we actually have somebody on the line.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, we have Volkai here who wants to talk to us about the Hearthstone World Championship.
What's going on, Volkai? Thanks for calling Final Encountercast.
Hey, how's it going? I just got done watching the championships and then came over to see what you guys are doing. It was a really exciting final.
Well, as you can hear, Nate is super excited to talk about card games.
Oh boy.
I'm sure he is.
There's no Christoph the Fat here today, so
yeah, you're. I don't know that you're going to be getting the most receptive audience, Volkai.
All right, let me ask you this: what? So the championship has been decided. So we basically have our
Wait
two
a minute.
finalists.
Is this why he skipped today's episode? Did he want to watch the Hearthstone finals?
No,
is that what it is?
I actually talked to him yesterday. He sounded like shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh.
He really did.
Well, fuck him.
Yeah. But so we're down to our last two people. What decks are they running for the championship then?
So the last two champions were Frozen and Tom60229. Frozen brought Mage, Priest, Druid, and Warlock. Tom brought Druid, Rogue, Priest, and Warlock. Both of the Warlocks got banned.
Wait, you okay? See, now I'm automatically showing my ignorance here because I didn't know that in the championships they played with multiple decks.
Yes, so everyone brings 4 decks. And then you ban one of your opponent's decks. And then once you win with one of your decks, you cannot play with that deck again.
Oh, so it's kind of like elimination.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, they call it a conquest format.
Oh, all right. That's actually kind of cool then. All right, so let me ask you this then. Who's your money on?
Well, I was betting on Surrender, who won the Winter Championship. Unfortunately, he washed out in the semifinals against Tom60229.
Womp, womp, womp. So who do you think is going to take it then, Tom or Frozen?
Well, it actually has been decided, and Tom took it in a reverse sweep.
Oh, okay, so it's over. All right, I thought you were telling me that like the championship, like the two people going up have were the ones that were decided. All right, well, cool. Well, we'll probably be covering this a little bit on Checkpoint. I would assume, maybe.
It was a very intense game. Frozen won the first 2 matches with Mage and Priest, so he only had his Druid left. Tom lost with Druid and Rogue, and then he won against Frozen's against Frozen's Druid with Priest, and then Rogue. And then it all came down to the Druid Mirror match, and Tom drew his Ultimate Infestations first, and that pretty much decided it.
All right, well, card games, everybody.
Card games.
Card games and $1 million.
Wow, that is. I guess that's a thing that happened.
It's a lot of money for card games.
Yeah.
Well, something else that's interesting about this is going into this championship, the Asia Pacific region was pretty much dismissed as the 4th best region out of 4, and Tom is now the first Asia Pacific World Champion.
Oh, well, congratulations to Tom.
Well, good job, Tom. Hopefully you're able to get a lot of friends on MySpace. I don't know. Volkai, thanks for the call.
He's gone.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I already took him out.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Volkai, appreciate hearing from you, even if you weren't talking about anything that I cared about. Just saying.
Speaking of things I don't care about, I guess I have to rely on you. I figured that Nika would have tried it out, and we could have at least had more of a.
I've been busy, man.
I guess an even discussion here. But what'd you think of Dissidia?
The Dissidia beta, yeah.
I mean, I played it in Japan when I was there on the arcade.
Okay, yeah. See,
besides the Mecha Heelys,
I'm gonna guess that Nika probably played more of it than I did because
I played probably like 4 or 5 rounds.
Because I swear I got through the tutorial and I could not unload that game fast enough. I fucking hate Dissidia. I'm sorry.
I love Dissidia normally. Like, but I played the shit out of the ones on the PSP.
And listen, that's fine. I just feel like it's such a, I don't know, like the idea that it's like you've got one type of attack that takes down HP, but only for so long, but then you've got to lock it in with another type of it just seems like the most bizarre control scheme for a fighting game. And I feel like it's only done because so that Square Enix can animate things properly. Right? Like, I don't think Square Enix would know if you put them on like if you told them you've got to make a Marvel versus Capcom clone, except with Final Fantasy characters. By the way, I'd play the shit out of that, just so you know. Or like a Smash Brothers clone.
Oh yes,
right?
Please.
Like a Smash Brothers clone, except with
all Final Fantasy, or just Square Enix.
Square Enix characters. Can you imagine throwing fucking Chrono in there, or like? I mean, yeah, you'd have to. Square Enix, when you take a 16-bit character and you make a full 3D model out of them, you do not need to make them look as fuckable as possible. I'm just saying. Like,
I will beg to disagree, but
wait, hold on. What make them look as fuckable?
Yeah. They try to make them
my
as
characters to look sexy. Why would you not?
It's sort of like, you know how like you have a range of different looks between characters in Smash Brothers, and you can be like, oh, that character is from like the Wii generation of things.
Oh, right. Even though like, they're like, you know, fully fleshed out like 3D characters, there's still a certain aspect of them that stays true to their original art, if you will.
Zidane doesn't look like Zidane.
No, he doesn't.
You know what I mean?
I don't know if I would like that so much.
Nobody gives a shit what you like, Nika.
Well, let me have a different opinion on here, since none of you ever will. But I feel like in terms of what the types of graphics that Square Enix makes and the types of, like, I'm actually disappointed that a lot of the time Nintendo sticks to the cartoony stuff, because I, as somebody who's really into the aesthetically flowy, pretty graphics, I really like the realistic aspect of it. And I feel like if all of a sudden, like, there was, you know, Noctis who looks super realistic and then Zidane who looks super cartoony, it would really throw me off. I wouldn't like it.
Let's just make sure that every one of our characters has a six-pack and looks like a fucking androgynous man-child. Like, that's
a Japanese
they
thing.
all look the fucking same. Every character looks exactly the same. And I was like scrolling through the Dissidia characters, because I mean, at least in the PSP version, it was like they were samey, but like there was still kind of like an element of cartooniness. I don't know what it is, but like Shantoto looks fucking retarded. You know, like it's just like anything that doesn't look like it just came out of Gold's Gym and has only eaten a wafer cracker once this week. You know what I mean? Like, if it doesn't look like David Bowie at his most anorexic, then we don't want it in this game. And that's the part that makes me go, okay, this is silly, right? Like, it's either gigantic hulking armor from Full Metal Alchemist or you know, fucking Ziggy Stardust. There is no in between. And that's what
Final Fantasy games have always been, though.
I'm so tired of playing twinks when I play a fucking Final Fantasy game. It's annoying at this point.
Can we maybe agree that Nika, who thinks that FF15 is the culmination of the Final Fantasy series, maybe doesn't
I've never said that,
what
FF15
or what Final Fantasy is all about?
I'm just saying, like, listen,
never said any of those words that you just said.
Listen, Square Enix is so preoccupied with having a fuckable boyish child in their game that they inserted Vaughn into 12 because the cast of characters wasn't strong enough, right? Like, we need to take Michael Jackson's Wet Dream and we need to insert it into Final Fantasy 12. And the thing is that shitty character design is full on display in Dissidia, to the point where I like, Bart's doesn't look fucking. Bart's looks like a fucking drag queen, dude. Like, it's bad.
Let's be real.
It's bad. It's really fucking bad.
No,
and I mean, that's fine. If you want to play RuPaul's Drag Race fighting game, then go play RuPaul's Drag Race fighting game. But I would like I would like Square Enix to pay a little bit more homage and meaningful homage to their earlier games by, I don't know, maybe respecting some of the character designs that existed in them.
Yeah, see, Nika, I do understand where you're coming from with your personal preference about wanting games to be more hyper-realistic, right? But I think that there is a place for Square Enix to do that, especially when you look at stuff like Nier Automata or even Final Fantasy 15. But in a game where you're taking characters from different iterations of your franchise, from different eras of your franchise, I think that in a case like that, when people go to play it, when people want to play as their favorite character from their favorite Final Fantasy, they shouldn't be looking at the character select screen and not really recognizing or thinking, what did you do to Terra?
Yeah.
Like, you should look at that character and be like, yep, that's my character. That was my Final Fantasy. That's my main, and this is my jam.
I don't know. I still get that feeling from Dissidia.
No, not at all. Not even a little bit for me.
Yeah, no, I played it once on the PSP, and as you were saying earlier about how overly complex the whole thing is, I could never get into it. So
I'm not a fan.
I played the shit out of all of the Dissidia games. I love them to death.
Well, you have low standards. So, Nate,
yeah.
I know that you played Monster Hunter.
I did.
Nika, you probably did.
I have zero interest in Monster Hunter at all. I didn't even know the beta was this weekend.
You can fuck off. So, what'd you think?
I liked it.
This is your first time playing it, right?
I've played other Monster Hunters, but I've never, first of all, I've never played a Monster Hunter where there was still an active online population, right? Like, when I played through parts of Monster Hunter 3, I think it was, it was on the Vita, and I don't think that the Vita can use any of the PSP, network connection stuff, so I've never played with anyone.
Okay.
That said, first of all, that game is fucking gorgeous. It handles a little clunky, especially in comparison to something like Dark Souls.
Okay, what weapon did you use?
Greatsword. Duh. Okay. Fuck off.
All right.
Why would you ask? Why would you ask that question? Fuck you. Jawbone Greatsword. Fuck you. Yeah, no. The thing is that especially in comparison to Dark Souls, because Dark Souls is so tight. Oh my God, is Dark Souls controls tight? I really sort of felt like it was because of the monster I was fighting, but it just felt slow in terms of like, oh, I need to dodge now. I felt like the frames that I had to dodge it
forgiving maybe
was way more forgiving.
Okay, all right, yeah,
way more forgiving.
That's probably fair.
Which made it just made it look like the character models were just kind of mushing up against each other. And I was like, that needs a little bit of work. But I do think that in a multiplayer setting that could be really fun.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Monster Hunter, specifically because of the multiplayer aspect of it. Whenever I've played it by myself, I get burnt out on it extremely quickly. And I've said on, I think both this show and Checkpoint previous, that I'm really interested in getting more time with this, because this is one of the first times that I think that a handheld game is being, remade on to a console. And to me, that it's just going to be a really, really cool experience, because they've kept pretty much everything there. Like I haven't noticed anything that's gone missing, but I've already noticed a bunch of different changes. First of all, like you said, the world, absolutely gorgeous. Before, you'd get to a map and it'd have maybe 5 or 6 areas, and they were pretty, tame in comparison to what this has, which, first of all, everything's seamlessly connected. You'd have to zone in and out of areas in the handhelds. And there's so many different levels to it. The very first one, the jungle, when I chased whatever it was up onto some tall canopy of leaves, fucking fell 4 stories down and I ended up losing because I couldn't get back up to the fucking monster quick enough.
Right.
The tracking gameplay or aspect of it is actually really cool too. And for the first time,
where you're just following the glow flies or whatever.
We'll see what they do more with it, but the idea of tracking it down, because there have been times before in the handheld ones where they give you a vague clue on where he is, and then it takes me half the time before I actually find it. Right.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I actually think that it's a welcome change.
I don't know. I felt like the hit detection was straight out of the PSP version, right? Or straight out of the handheld version, because you do need to have some wiggle room you know, when you're playing on a screen that small.
Right.
But I feel like that was a lot of it, was that being kind of, you know, taken onto the full screen, that they have a lot more ability to kind of play around with.
Okay, and I could see that actually if they, you know, again, looking at the game, if they did just sort of upscale it or transfer over a lot of the infrastructure that they already had, I would absolutely think that would be one of the downsides of doing that. But hopefully that's something that they can tweak and mess with going forward as well. But overall, yeah, I'm really, really excited about it.
Is that a day one purchase for you?
Yeah, actually, girlfriend's going to get it for me for my birthday. Early birthday. But yeah, I already got a few other friends who, I have one who's pre-ordered it already. So I already got a Monster Hunter squad ready to go.
I mean, of the 3 that I played, I don't feel like any of them are day one for me.
Okay. Yeah, no, I could see that. Well, especially because Monster Hunter, even though it's a day one for me, that's only because I know I'm going to have people to play with. Otherwise... Right. If I had no one to play that with, I probably wouldn't get it at all, because it where it's fun, it definitely lies with the multiplayer aspect of it.
Yeah, Lalux in the chat says Monster Hunter controls feel clumsy. Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it, yeah.
I'm debating on Dissidia for day one at this point, just simply because a lot of my friends are going to play it, but I have heard that they have cut out any of the fun, like, story mode elements of the previous Dissidias. So that's where I'm actually a little bit hesitant.
Really? I mean, there's, I mean, from the screen that I was in, it does say there's a story mode.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cern said that somebody compiled all of the story cutscenes, and it's like 10 minutes. So, well, like, keep in mind, in the previous games, there was like a full-on story, especially in Duodecim and the second Dissidia. The story was huge, and then there was a really cool exploration dungeon mode, which I don't think exists in this one either.
First of all, I feel like that story mode was so unnecessary.
Duodecim story was really good.
No, it wasn't.
The first one.
What are you talking about? What? Wait, what? What are you talking?
The whole story with, like, the new 5 characters had to go in to help the other characters, and there was like a big story about how they had to
It was terrible.
I don't know. For a fighting game, I think, because fighting game stories are usually dumb, I thought it was believable enough for a fighting game.
Oh my god, all I ever wanted to do was skip those cutscenes. They were fucking terrible. I hated them.
As a youngling, I used to always think, man, I wish that fighting games had better storylines. But now that I've grown up, I realize you
don't. You just want to fight. You just want to take your shit and smash them together like action figures.
Yeah, it's bad.
Tekken has a pretty decent story.
No, stop.
Yes, it does. Have you ever looked into it? It's good.
Stop.
It is.
No one's gonna believe you.
No one.
Anyone who plays Tekken knows.
Nobody.
Everyone.
So all 50 people.
There are tons of people that play Tekken.
It's not. I mean, it's not very thriving esports scene, so it can't be that many people. I mean, even
Senpai plays.
There's some pretty big Tekken tournaments.
Even Mortal Kombat still holds tournaments. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Sometimes they're on TV.
There's a strong presence at Evo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Nate, you played all 3 of them. Rate them for me.
Jesus.
Like just put them in. If you were to buy them, put them in a buy order.
I'd say Dissidia is number 3 for sure. It's down there way at the bottom. Monster Hunter number 2, Survive number 1.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, no one saw that coming.
Yeah. I only say that because you're forcing me to say, like, you know, to come up with it. Would I spend money on any of them? No.
Nah. Okay, that's fair.
No. I mean, I'll probably still continue to fuck around with the Survive beta as long as it's up, because it's not, like I said, it's not the worst thing that I've ever messed around with. But yeah, I don't think I'd spend money on it.
All right, fair enough then.
Yeah.
We have about.
You want to read an email?